Greetings, everyone, and welcome. My name is Dr. Lori, and I am your host today for the Haelan Nurse Chronicles. This is our podcast episode number 16. And today we are going to dive into a crucial topic that affects millions of nurses across the healthcare industry worldwide. And that is nurse workplace violence and its impact on mental health. As we explore this sensitive subject, we'll hear from nurses who have bravely shared their experiences with PTSD in the workplace, shedding light on the challenges that they face and the need for change. So join me in this episode and we'll unpack all of that and just more. It's so important that we create a safe and supportive environment for all nurses to thrive and flourish, because this directly translates into improved patient outcomes, safety, and quality of care. So thank you for tuning in, and let's begin the conversation about ending nurse-specific traumatization. And we'll start with one nurse who posted on my social media, and she stepped away from the profession to evaluate. She said, "I've been on a break since June. I'm starting to realize that none of the jobs in my area appeal to me. I'm not burned out. I'm roasted to ashes." Roasted to ashes. Wow, that's a powerful description. In other words, this nurse is sharing that she's burned beyond burnout. What she may not realize is how profoundly she's been affected by avoidable nurse-specific traumatization. We'll drop an image in the show notes for you, but so much of the trauma exposures that nurses are experiencing that is causing them to become traumatized is avoidable. Now, as nurses, we all get trained on the trauma exposure, the vicarious or secondary trauma, the trauma from disasters. We're all trained and know how to navigate that. And it's difficult, even on the best of days, to manage that trauma exposure. But on top of that, we have historical trauma that nurses are transmitting, often unknowingly, from one generation to the next. That might be that nurses eat their young thing, where we have so much unhealedness within our profession that we just continue to transmit, like ancestral legacies of trauma get transmitted. We're doing the same in our professional lineages. There's workplace violence that's avoidable of all sorts. There's system-induced trauma. Oftentimes the system is the problem. What is really driving nurses from the profession, as healthcare organizations are literally hemorrhaging nurses right now, is insufficient resources. And that is the unsafe nurse-patient ratios that many nurses are burdened with, not having enough resources or support, or not being able to take off the time that they have earned to be able to be away from work. And then there's the second victim trauma. Many times when you do a root cause analysis, this is due to a system inadequacy. So if you are a nurse who has experienced a near miss, an adverse or a sentinel event, if you really dive down deep, you might learn that there were system factors at play that were really responsible for that. And that creates a tremendous amount of guilt or shame that was probably never yours to carry in the first place. So our nurse who is roasted to ashes, she could benefit from our compassion and our support in the form of an evidence-based framework, perhaps, that will help her heal and recover from nurse-specific traumatization. A framework much like the one that I am using in my book and in my nonprofit, where we bring programs worldwide to nurses and help them with recovery from burnout and nurse-specific traumatization. Now back to social media, another nurse chimed in. I tried to find a safe nursing job after being diagnosed with PTSD and found that there are none to be had locally. There is no safe place near me offering fair pay for safe work, let alone actual accountability and support. I feel like there's no good place to work. Everything must be done just rushed, neglectful care in the name of helping admin get their next bonus, while patients, nurses, and caregivers suffer. Hence the extra crispy burnout. I am beyond burned out and I am never going back. Another profoundly heartfelt description. Millions of nurses are feeling similarly. That extra crispy flare, just like the previous nurse, describes symptoms that on the surface may appear to be burnout, but are actually nurse-specific PTSD. Now, I have one other story, this time from a hospice nurse, and I quote, "I went to hospice to do admissions for 6 months. I thought I couldn't have found a better gig. I don't have to get attached to the patients who are dying, but I feel like I get to help them with their end-of-life wishes. Sign me up." I learned pretty quickly, hospice is all about the money too. I would work 15 hours a day over 60 hours a week, and every time I spoke up about it, I was ignored. I would work until 12 or 1 a.m. most nights, finishing my charting after a day of seeing patients. I was sent way outside of my initially agreed upon territory. I once drove 100 miles back and forth in one day and wasn't even getting paid enough for gas. I'm back at the bedside because I'd rather be miserable 36 hours a week than 60. It feels like no matter what you do as a nurse, you'll be taken advantage of. So here we are. How do I choose to be miserable in my career? Well, that's just not acceptable. I hope you can feel as deeply as I do the angst, the despair, the desperation that these nurses are experiencing. None of them have the support that they need to stay safe, healthy, and professionally well in their practices. So for those in the audience who may be feeling similarly, please know this, that there is hope, that there is help, that there is a roadmap, and there is a community. There is an evidence-based framework that you can tailor to your unique experiences while healing with other nurses who are doing the same. And this framework harnesses and leverages the innate capacity for healing that each of us have within. Your pathway from being extra crispy burned out or roasted to ashes is an innate care plan that partners with the wisdom of your most ancient intelligence, the autonomic nervous system and the vagus nerve. Now, we'll drop an image in the show notes about what that innate care plan looks like just for you. And it goes something like this. There are 3 A's, 1 B, and 3 R's. Now, today we're going to talk about those 3 A's because we start with healing within and then working outward, using the properties of our innate capacity for healing and neuroplasticity to build new ways of being in our practices and even in the world. Your innate care plan framework starts with 3 A's. The first A is awareness. The awareness that maybe there's more to your perceived burnout than meets the eye. The awareness that deep healing is possible. And importantly, the awareness that you're not alone. The second A is attending. This has to do with how we nurture, nourish, and attend to our autonomic nervous system and the vagus nerve, and also how we care for the unintegrated trauma artifacts that emerge for healing. Now, these artifacts are stored in the body, usually in the muscles, the skin, the fascia, and nerve plexuses, and they stay lodged until such time that conditions are favorable for healing. Well, guess what? If you're listening to this podcast or reading this transcript, then this is your invitation for healing, because conditions have never been more favorable. My nonprofit has a 13-week Break Up with Burnout for Nurses program that will guide you through your healing process, and you will be facilitated every step of the way. Now, the last A, that third A, is alignment. And that speaks to that incongruence that millions of nurses are feeling, incongruence and dissonance between our inner and outer worlds. How many of us feel like we can barely drag ourselves out of bed or off the couch to go to work, and then perform like we're the most satisfied, safe, and professionally well nurse in the world? Well, yes, we go to work and do our job to the best of our ability, but what is likely inside, how we're feeling inside, is not matching the persona that we are giving at work. And so that leads to this sense of interdisconnectedness, and that leads us to feeling alone, hopeless, and downright miserable. So we will discuss the rest of the innate care plan components in a future episode. The most important thing, as the legend Eckhart Tolle reminds us in his book, The Power of Now, if you get it right on the inside, the outside will fall into place. Primary reality is within, secondary reality is without. So nurses, you need not feel alone, trapped, stuck, or hopeless another day. There is help, and I will be with you every step of the way. To learn how you've been affected and what you can do about it, please take a 5-question self-assessment, and we'll send you a complete report so you can get started on your healing journey today. Just visit drlorilaws.com/burnout, and we'll drop that link in the show notes as well. Until next time, thank you for all that you are and all that you do. I see you, I feel you, I hear you, and I am here for you. From my healer's heart to yours, thank you and namaste.